When you look at kind of what we've been saying about how much the operating model can change and evolve, it really has deep implications on the workforce and the talent. And there isn't one carrier out there who isn't asking, how do I adjust my talent for the world that I'm going in? I have different needs, I have different opportunities, as we talked about previously. So what's the change that you make with your workforce?
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I think it's sort of where it gets applied, right? I mean, I think we were talking earlier. We were talking about sort of the quote from The Martian, right? The Matt Damon movie. He said, I'm going to science the living daylights out of it, right? And the notion was he was going to actually break down the problem, look at it in a different way, and then think about how he could interpret and use that information. It is that combination, as we've talked about. It's not just the machine. It's not just the ability to get data that informs and what's there, but the ability to actually take advantage of it. What's the sort of the judgment or the emotional aspect of it? It's really combining this, this talent level of data science. I mean, it's really great minds. He said if data and our ability to use data in your industry, in insurance, is the most important thing you're doing, then how come you're not using one of the top 5 talents in the world in that space? So how are we really leveraging that, not as a function where we look at a problem and then figure out where it may get applied, but embedded in the processes that we're doing at the exact point? Right? That's a real shift to how we do it. Today we silo people by functions. How do we create these collective teams that combine, the machine, if you will, sort of the science piece of it, with those who understand the emotional and the other piece to it at the same time? And how are we really looking at that? And I think that sort of that sort of broader approach, I think, is what we have to see, how we apply that in various areas.
So one of the key things there is that you're not just looking at your talent as individuals, but you're really using the power of the organization to enhance the capabilities of your talent there. I mean, are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And insurance in particular, it's fascinating. I think the insurance executives I know are kind of bipolar. And what I mean by that is that they either totally believe that they have the most interesting businesses in the world, or they think they can't attract the right kind of talent. And I side with the first group, because when you look at what's happening, insurance is like the coolest place to be, because first of all, insurance is one of the great miracles of humankind, right? The idea that if we collectively absorb risk, we essentially get a free good, right? Because what's going to happen to you is not necessarily going to happen to me on the same day. So for a small premium, all of a sudden you've made my future better. I mean, I think that's a miracle, right? And so it's fantastic. And then you look at all the skills and all the things that big data, machine learning, all of this stuff. Heck, insurance has been doing that forever. They didn't call it that. They've been doing it forever. So they're right at ground zero of like the most exciting trend. And I think properly told, you can get the best talent to come in. Plus, I used to teach decision science at Harvard Business School. We'd kill for data sets. Who's got better data sets than insurance companies? I mean, that is like the mother's milk to somebody who really loves decision science. So you have all that on the analytics side. And then if you really want a Renaissance organization, then you talk about the emotional side, sales and so forth. Who's better at selling than insurance? I mean, some of the greatest sales talent in the world, people who really understand human emotion, need, and so forth, whether it's on the business-to-business side or business-to-consumer side. Some of the greatest motivators in the world come from that world. And so insurance, I think, has it all if they look at it the right way.